Question 15 is, why do some people have an easier life than others? Before birth, as I have already said, most people cooperate with more advanced spirit advisors to develop and agree a pre-birth life plan. The precision of this plan can be quite detailed. It may, for instance, include knowledge of who our parents are going to be, and perhaps even the name we will be given. Even the timing of our birth can be taken into consideration, as it will attract certain astrological influences, vibrations. Most importantly, our plan is, practically always, for certain experiences or lessons, pertaining to our needs, to be undertaken for the benefit of our personal spiritual growth and progression, and possibly that of others too. Everything is about the opportunity to experience spiritual growth and progression. It is never about being born into what we may, while using our physical senses, consider an idyllic lifestyle. Although this could happen for some if this is what they need to experience. It may help if we think of ourselves as actors who have been cast and accepted the challenge to play roles that we deem ideal for us at this particular stage of our acting careers. We currently are cast in A Life Upon Earth. It is a long-running series with lots of ups and downs, and twists and turns. Some of us are playing a simple role, as an average everyday person, while others have found that they are cast just right in a star role as a hero or a martyr. This time around we play one role, and perhaps next time we will find ourselves cast in a completely different one. In the grand scheme of things, when we will have played a multiple number of roles, everything will eventually balance fairly. We will have had our time in the so-called easy roles, just as we will have endured the hardship and the suffering roles. We will have played all the roles necessary to have completed a full and comprehensive program of learning. Perhaps we will then choose to take on the role of a director, a spirit guide to others. Below are a few scenarios to consider. It is often considered that those born into a family with greater financial wealth than the average person are lucky. However, just because they have more money does not necessarily mean they have an easier life, when viewed from the perspective of spiritual lessons. Life for such an individual can often be just as difficult, albeit in a different way to those who are financially poor. Let us take for instance someone who inherits a successful family business. They may suddenly find themselves shouldering the responsibility of continued prosperity that will enable the loyal staff to remain in employment and be paid sufficiently to support their families. The one who we may think of as the fortunate inheritor may then find that their decisions can affect the livelihood and well-being of many people. Although some may take such responsibility lightly, someone with sensitivity and compassion could feel they are under severe pressure. If the business should fail, even if they are not to blame, they may feel guilty. Their spiritual challenge could be the need to come to terms with how things have unfolded, and to move forward in another direction. If they fail in their lesson, they may fall apart in some way and never find it within themselves to move forward. Depression and suicide can be the negative responses. Alternatively, the positive outcome may be the founding of a new enterprise that eventually outshines their previous family business and helps to support many of their former employees. Life, in so many ways, can be very challenging. A native South American Indian, born to a life in the jungle, has no money, and this never worries him. He is more concerned with food and shelter. Those of us born in the so-called civilized world, with adequate food and shelter, so often create unnecessary worries for ourselves, over possessions which, in truth, we often do not need. So often our worries concern what are really luxuries, about which we become jealous and envious of those with more luxuries than ourselves. So many of us waste our time in a quest for what, 1 minute after our death, will prove meaningless to us. We would therefore be wise not to concern ourselves with how and why some people may seem to have an easier life. We may also consider the fact that the greater the hardship, or the tougher the lesson, the greater the spiritual reward of growth and progression that can result. Ultimately, it is only what we have spiritually gained from this life that is truly worth possessing and, of course, all we can take from it.